Yes, so Dr. Paul, I think we are good to go.
Okay, that sounds good. What I'd suggest, everyone, I'll introduce myself, I'll explain a little bit about the programme, and then I'll open it up to questions, and we'll follow that with perhaps Saad as the regional advisor for Asia, and Ibrahim, if they also want to add, then we can do that. So first and foremost, welcome to this session. My name's Paul, Dr. Paul Dudley. I'm the Programme Director for the Business Administration Programme with the University of London, and I'm a Senior Lecturer at Royal Holloway. I'm also the Director of Distance Learning at Royal Holloway for the School of Business and Management. So that's a little bit about myself. I believe passionately in the student experience. That's why we're working with Denning, and that's why we work with many of the other teaching centres globally, and our reach extends from Brazil across to China. So we have a wide network of professional and highly organised teaching centres, and that's why I'm particularly pleased to be here today supporting this particular presentation. So in terms of today's agenda, I'll keep it brief because I know what it's like listening to presentations. We have the University of London. I'll give you a very brief overview. I want to focus more on the programme itself and explain the mechanics, but also a little bit about the programme. And then we'll open it up to a plenary, so where you can ask questions for myself. First and foremost, I would say that the University of London doesn't really need a significant introduction. It's known the world over. It's got an excellent reputation. The programmes offered extend across the member institutions from Royal Holloway, which that's why we're here today, across to the LSE, King's, Queen Mary, and all the others that are detailed here, including UCL, Goldsmiths, SOAS. So it's an established university with a long history dating back to the 1800s. We have a very strong core belief and set of values, and that's about extending education, affordable education around the world. We don't believe, and I don't believe, in education being a basis for extending our ideas from the UK. We welcome ideas and theories and concepts from all countries, and that's really important. So it's about increasing and improving our understanding of knowledge and how that can help us in our everyday lives. And our work, that includes our work lives. And that's a core philosophy for myself and a core value. So it's about being open-minded. And what I would say about certainly Royal Holloway, but this extends to the University of London as well, we're about, if I had to try and sum it up, viewing management and business administration from different perspectives. And that's really part of our USP. That we will open up different ways of looking at problems and puzzles that you face in your workplace and everyday life. And I think it goes to the heart of what we do at Royal Holloway, where we open up different ways of looking at things around us. And that is a key, if you like, USP or value proposition that Royal Holloway is known for. In terms of returning to the University of London, then extensive network, which extends globally, as you can see here. I've indicated with the BBA, which is, I'm going to use shorthand BBA, which is Business Administration Programme. We have two universities based in South America, one in Peru, one in Brazil with multiple sites, and they're a teaching centre. For us, we've got universities that extend across into China. We've got teaching centres in India and in Pakistan. I would say Pakistan, if I had to summarize for you, is my favorite destination. And I'm not just saying that because I'm hosting today. I'm saying it because it's a fact. You know, if you look at my travel itinerary in normal times, then Pakistan is the country that I visit the most. So normally 2 to 3 times a year. So if you do come onto this course, or if you are in the process of applying, I look forward to welcoming you in the future, hopefully in the new year when there's some sort of normality, hopefully. And Pakistan, reason I visit so often is because it's where the majority or a large number of our students come from. So you've got a long tradition with the A-levels and other qualifications. Students are very good. Some of the top performing students are based in Pakistan. So on the BBA, we offer what are called toppers prizes, which are separate from your graduation. So every year when we have hold the exam board, which we held them over the last 2 weeks, with the last one on Thursday, sorry, we award prizes for the students that perform the best. And historically, Pakistan figures in there. Students from across the different institutions we work with, teaching centres, regularly feature in those awards. And I'm very proud of that. In fact, I'm very proud of the programme itself. I was speaking to one of the external examiners yesterday who attended the exam board, and he said some really complimentary things about the programme in terms of the quality of the work that he reviewed, and that was really pleasing to hear. Talking a bit about the business administration programme, why do it? Well, we know University of London, established, recognised the world over. Royal Holloway, very good university in the UK, top 20. And the programme itself, I think, is quite inviting. In 2018, we redesigned the programme. A significant amount of money was spent on the VLE, the virtual learning environment, between the University of London and Royal Holloway. We moved towards what I would describe as an interactive, bite-sized learning approach. So it's about breaking your learning down into activities, which all that material is available on the VLE. And those materials range from, for example, videos from ourselves, so narrated presentations in particular, multiple choice quizzes, reading, that is all hyperlinked. So, and again, that goes to one of the core aspects of, or philosophies of, the redesign, which I led on, which learning should be fun, and secondly, learning should be simple. We shouldn't be there putting roadblocks in your way where you have to figure out how to find things in the library. So you'll find an online library, you'll find everything's hyperlinked. So literally you go through the materials and you click on it. And of course, Denning will support you in the classroom and guide you with that as well. So the course itself, 12 modules that you would be taking, 4 per year. They run in parallel and they run over 2 terms. So the terms run normally October through for 12 weeks. We're running beginning in November this year. Monday the 1st of November is probably the start date that we're going to use, but then can choose a different start date depending on how they want to do that, because our support is primarily through discussion boards. So each teaching centre can opt to set up their term, how they see best to support you. But essentially 2 terms, 12 weeks each per module. They run in parallel, so you'd be taking 4 modules over the year, generally run October, November time through to May. The 4 modules that you're taking, the first half of the course is assessed by a piece of coursework, and that's due generally early February. So you've got plenty of time to get up to speed, undertake the learning that you need to do to undertake the coursework. And then several months later, at some point in May or June, you take the exam. To be honest, we adapt the papers to the circumstances that we're facing. You'll also find on the VLE all sorts of materials around mock questions that you might want to practice on, and so on. So that's the program. So 4 modules per year. They run in parallel. They run up to around April, and then the exams are in May, sometimes in June. And as I said earlier, our job is to make things fun for you to learn. Learning should be fun. In fact, I was speaking to my head of school recently. I'm writing a book called Global Strategy for Sage Publications, and I was talking to her, saying that how much I'm learning, you know, the detailed research that you have to undertake for writing a book. And I find that challenging, but I also find it enjoyable. So it's fun, but it's not always fun because you have to work at things. So learning should be fun, but like most things in life, you only get out what you put in. So it's about application. I've talked about the VLE, so I won't say anything more about that. It's got a detailed set of resources which are all activity based that walk you through the program. You'll find all sorts of material on there, and essentially it's based around activities, presentations that are given by ourselves, and follow-up activities. So it's moving you along this learning journey in in a bite-sized approach. And that's what I've said here. So you'll find that everything, as I've already noted, is available via the VLE, and you literally just click and it will take you to the source, as long as you're logged into the library, which is really simple to do. This is what, when you enter one of the modules, you'll be presented with. So these boxes, and literally you click on each box and you'll find the material. So it's set up in an intuitive, user-friendly way, which is something we're quite pleased with and happy with and proud. It's a lot of work went into the redevelopment, and as I said, a significant amount of time and money was put into developing this. You have the option, and this is premised on attaining certain grades, so a 60% average on your studies, and also English language requirements and satisfactory references and personal statement. You have the option to study at Royal Holloway, either in the 2nd or final year. So that's an affordable way of, perhaps if you have got plans of wanting to study in the UK for a year or 2 years, that's an affordable way of doing it. So you do part of your studies at Denning and part at Royal Holloway. It's not obligatory. Talk to your advisors at Denning. It's there as to offer you choices, and that's the key benefit of it. It's a choice. If you want to experience the campus, then that can be that is one thing that you might want to consider. The campus is a wonderful campus. I'm not just saying that because I work there. I've worked at many universities in this country and overseas. It's beautiful campus, you know. So normally when I go in, and I haven't been in for quite a while now because of the pandemic, I get in early, so about 6:30, 7 in the morning, and round the back of the old building in the picture in the top left, that's Founders Building, the one that you see on our website. That you walk down the steps and there's this sort of small park area it's a fairly big park area. It's behind the tennis courts, and in the morning at that time, you see all the rabbits and the wildlife out, sometimes deer, and it's for me that's a really nice experience, because I'm based in London. You know, it's very urban, so it's very nice to see that countryside when you're on campus. What can I say here? Well, essentially standards, and I think this comes back to the University of London. The programme is awarded by the University of London with academic direction by Royal Holloway. Our direction here at Royal Holloway is to design the learning journey, design the approach, which is perspectives driven with the content, as I mentioned right at the beginning. The underlying processes to ensure quality and to ensure that your degree is still worth the same amount in a decade's time, say, is the University of London, who at Royal Holloway we work very closely with and have a very good relationship. So you can be assured that the standards are rigorous. You can be assured that the processes that underpin your degree are rigorous, and that's for your benefit. So you might be thinking, oh, University of London, that's going to, you know, there's going to be all sorts of challenges. You know, it's a very good university. The member institutions are very well known. The processes protect you. They're there to ensure that your voice is heard, and that the marks are consistent across higher education. So the standards are all absolutely spot on. And in my time in post, which has been about 5 years, involved in the BBA, I can attest to the thoroughness of what we do. So the exam boards, we've held 2 over the last two weeks. Prior to that, we hold a pre-board, which looks at mitigating circumstances because things happen in our lives, for example, falling ill, etc. And we take into consideration a range of factors, and that's all very thorough to ensure that your experience is a positive one. Graduating, in normal times, we attend at the Barbican in London. It's a wonderful venue. It's an opportunity to celebrate with family, take part in the graduation, and that's across all the member institutions. So there'll be students from the LSE, UCL, King's, Royal Holloway, all attending that are on the University of London programs. And that's a really special day. And you know, part of my role on that day is to shake everyone's hands that are on the BBA program and to say well done, and then informally afterwards to hopefully catch up and see how you're doing. Now, what I would say is that I do come to Pakistan, as I've said already, regularly, and hopefully I'll be able to meet you if you come onto the BBA program at some point over the coming year. Here's a picture from one of the graduations. This is Princess Anne. It depends who's attending the graduation, the guests, but the graduation's a really special day, is the key point. The program itself, there are, and for some reason the settings on my computer, oh, that's better. There are different options that you can select. There's a general business administration, which is takes you through a range of different modules. There's also specialisms. So there's a specialism in marketing, a specialism in human resource management, and a specialism in international business, on each of those pathways or specialisms, you may take slightly different modules for some of the program. You will take core modules which are core to the general pathway as well. And what I'd say is you don't need to make a decision on that until the end of your first year. So I always say to prospective students and to teaching centres that you have up to the end of the first year. The first year is a common first year that cuts across all the pathways. And so my advice generally is to go onto the general route. You can then settle into the course and make a decision at the end of year one. So that's everything I wanted to say to everyone. So I'd welcome questions from people. Anything about the program that you would like me to talk to you about?
Okay, so Dr. Paul, thank you so much for such a detailed introduction about the program, about the University of London and the Royal Holloway. So those who have the participants, if you have any questions, please do write on the chat. In the meanwhile, I would like to ask certain questions, the general questions that we normally get from the students. So Saad, if you can just brief us on this, that one of the common questions that we get is about the degree being recognized by the Higher Education Commission in Pakistan. So can you just let us know on this?
Thank you, Ibrahim, and thank you, Denning, for organizing this session. It's always a pleasure to be on the platform of Denning. Your question is very relevant, and this is something that comes across for most of our programs. If you talk about University of London, I would like to talk about the history of University of London to answer this question. So we are a university which is almost 160 years old. If you talk about Pakistan, we are the oldest university in Pakistan to offer a foreign T&E program. And University of London has been part of discussions with HEC on developing the framework of transnational education, which they implemented last year. So we are considered to be pioneers when it comes to transnational education in Pakistan. And all our programs are highly reputed and well respected by the Higher Education Commission. So with the new policy that's come in, most of our institutions have gotten the NOC from HEC as well, and all our programs are recognized by the Higher Education of Pakistan. So the answer is definitely that all University of London programs are recognized by Higher Education Commission, and they are reputable and credible. And based on that, you can either go abroad after graduating with our program in Pakistan, or you could study locally for a master's program in Pakistan, or you even could go for civil services or even private jobs in Pakistan. So that's the level of credibility of the program. We've produced a number of high valued alumni which are working with top organizations in Pakistan, be it the business administration program, be it the law program, or be it the EMFSS programs. And I think we've got a very strong network of alumni now in Pakistan who've done this program and are proud of this program. So I think that's the short answer to your question.
Yes, thank you, Saad, so much. And I think that gives a really clear view on this query that we generally get. Right. So now I would also like to, it's like a more of a general question to Dr. Paul, that how different is this degree compared to, this BBA program compared to other programs, like how beneficial, it is?
I think Paul can definitely answer the academic part. I would just like to add one part to this answer. When you say the difference between the BBA program, when you say the BBA program of University of London and the local BBA program being offered, yes, I think both the programs have their own strengths. But I think the advantage of doing a Royal Holloway academic direction program is the benefit of getting, first of all, a foreign qualification. Number two, you're graduating in 3 years compared to a 4-year program, probably from Pakistan. And thirdly, the opportunity to transfer in the second and third year makes it very attractive. And I think these are the 3 plus points. Alongside, you also join the, I would say, very strong alumni network of University of London, not only in Pakistan, but the global network. So that's my answer, more on the lines of a general answer. Academically, I think Paul would be the best person to talk about the program.
Yeah, thank you. It's a difficult one to answer in all honesty, because it depends on what you're comparing it against. What I would say from my experience of other programs is that what makes the Royal Holloway program unique, or fairly unique, is the breadth of knowledge it gives you. So it gives you a really solid grounding in the core concepts, ideas, how to solve problems, and so on. And added to that, the multiple perspective point of view. So you have that sort of twin, those two twin things happening in tandem. So yes, you get the solid grounding, which you'll find with a lot of courses, a lot of programs, they will give you the solid grounding. If I was asked to comment on what makes it unique, or fairly unique, I would say it's the perspectives driven. And it goes, and that's our academic direction. So, you know, when you look at Royal Holloway courses, programs, that is a core part, whether it's in the School of Business and Management or whether it's in one of the other schools at Royal Holloway. It's that ability to leave with, graduate with an appreciation of the subject that you're studying from a range of different vantage points. And that's fairly unique in my experience. And I've worked for French universities, for those in the GCC, Middle East, and various UK universities. I would say that from my experience, and it's just my view, that makes it unique. It certainly goes to, if you look at the college level, as our centre at Royal Holloway, that when I talk to the marketing people as a marketing function, not the academic side, then that is one of the core value propositions that we put forward. So I hope that helps explain.
Yes, yes, definitely. And actually, there's one more question directed towards Saad, and that is about the employability of this program, especially in Pakistan. So, if you can just surprise us on that?
I couldn't get your answer. Could you the question? Could you come again, please?
Yes, can you just brief us on the employability, on this program?
Perfect. I think I've touched upon this on my last answer as well, but I think what is very notable to mention here is that since the last 5 to 6 years, the university has been very much involved in, I would say, events, primarily directly recruiting or helping students to be recruited with top employers. So I can definitely say this, that we've done several events in Lahore, Karachi, and Islamabad. And we plan to do these, inshallah, after things get better with COVID as well, where we actually had top employers come in. They were able to shortlist students and were able to recruit students as well. If you talk about the general employability of our programs, I think the employability of our programs has been always very good because of the credibility of University of London. I know that most of our alumni are very well placed. When you talk about the business alumni, they're well placed in top multinationals. Some are working with telcos. Some are working in the government department. There's a lot of trend of people going towards civil services. And I think the other thing that is coming up quite often is that I see a lot of them also somehow teaching. So they would be working and on the weekends at times, they're part-time teachers, or even for like people who've done this program, they would love to do a full-time opportunity when it comes to teaching. So all of these avenues are open with this program. I think the good thing about the program is that most of them would do a 3-year program and would want to go for a master's straight away. And when they come back to Pakistan, I think they have a much stronger footprint because they have that endorsement from University of London, but also they have an endorsement from another university, which could be either a college of University of London or any other top university. So both those advantages are available. But with our program, I think it is quite easy for them to get employed. The program is built in such a way that they can think out of the box. They're able to communicate well. And I think that's something that adds value to the program and to these alumni of University of London.
Yes, and just to add on to it, we also and we have, for this purpose, we have dedicated a separate career development unit. And the responsibility of this CDU is to, ensure that, our students, they get into, uh, firstly, they do internships during their 3 years of their study. And obviously, once they graduate, they get good placements in organizations and multinationals. And for that also, because obviously, the University of London has a world-class curriculum, right? And so what Denning, in addition to it, what we do is, we believe in the practical aspect of learning. And that is why we have separate training workshops, training programs going on, especially during the summers, once, the students are done with the exams. So this is also something that, just to complement what they have been taught in the curriculum of the University of London. So just to add on to it and, give it a more practical aspect, we also provide them with the training programs as well, where they get a lot of hands-on learning.
The other thing, Ibrahim, that I would like to add, especially when you've talked about internships,
Mm.
the University of London has also implemented a business placement program.
Okay.
Pakistan took lead in that pilot project. We have provided a number of internships to our second year students. And the good thing about the internship program was that it was part of the degree. So we would somehow support these students to get this internship. They would do this 3 to 4 week internship. So it was quite competitive. They would apply for that. And we worked with almost 20 organizations in Pakistan for that. And it was for all the programs. So even business administration students were eligible to apply for that. And we would pay a bursary for that, those who were able to successfully complete the internship. And the best part was that the remarks of the employee was endorsed on the transcript of that student. So hopefully when the student would graduate and get a transcript, and when they would apply for jobs, the transcript will mention that he's done a business placement with a certain organization, which could be either P&G, PTCL, or even Coca-Cola. And they would mention the overall rating of that student. So I think that's something which was very useful. And we are continuing to do that. And inshallah, once things are better with COVID, we will try to work with much more employers in Pakistan. So the concept was to give employers a taste of our graduates. And once they go in the last year of the program, if they like them, they can somehow offer them a full-time opportunity, or they could give them some kind of an experience to work with their organization. So we've done a lot of work on employability for our graduates, and I think it's done well for us. And overall employability has also enhanced for University of London in Pakistan.
Okay, wow. That's really, really good to know. Chale. So, do we have any?
There's also a
Yeah.
range of online courses that University of London organise. So on the programme, you'll receive details of the course details, and there's a regular annual itinerary of employability. So there's someone that, well, there's a group, it's not one person, it's a group of people that are charged with overseeing that. So employability is one of the key things that the University of London focuses on.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I remember having this conversation with you, Dr. Paul, where you mentioned that, you are arranging a business competition for I believe those students have cleared the first year.
Yes, that's correct. It kicks off. It starts this year, but it's only open to students that have completed the first year of the studies. So I've got to write the assignment brief. It's called the Business Challenge, and I'm writing it in August. It's essentially integrates several of the subjects across year one. So the challenge and this is open knowledge. So I've talked to all the teaching centres about this. It's based around an entry of a company into a new country, and it's looking at the best entry strategy into that country. It draws on marketing, developing a marketing plan. It draws on accounting in development, ensuring it's a viable way forward, and it draws on international business. And all three of those subjects are core to the first year. So it integrates, and the challenge starts every year, so it's run every year. The Denning, after year one, will be able to run that internally. So what would happen is that you organise into teams of 5. The best team is put forward by Denning to the next round. They're judged at Royal Holloway by a range of different judges, and the top 3 go through to a Dragon's Den shootout. And that Dragon's Den shootout is an interactive session with all students invited from all the teaching centres globally that deliver the BBA. Our vice principal is there, and the winning team of 5 are offered a partial scholarship for a Royal Holloway postgraduate program. And that's significant. You know, it's a significant reduction. I believe off the top of my head, it's 50% reduction in fees for a postgraduate program at Royal Holloway. The actual Dragon's Den shootout is over half a day. Lots of interaction, bit like if you've ever watched Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. So there'll be opportunities to vote on things and do all sorts of different activities. We'll have other presentations other than the winning finalist presentations. So it'll be a fun day, engaging day for everyone. So that's part of our extracurricular activity. But I know Denning are very good at organising their own as well. So I'm sure if you come onto the programme, you will have lots of opportunities to do all sorts of things, whether it be in country or with the business challenge, which will be held virtually because of the pandemic at the moment.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Right. Yeah. Thank you for that. And yes, so in next year, hopefully, students will also look forward to it. And just adding on to it, we also obviously have something that is planned, which we call an entrepreneurship challenge. So this is also going to be on the same lines, and I think it can serve as an internal competition, and then that can maybe move forward towards the Royal Holloway challenge. Right. Great. So I think we have got whatever questions we have been addressed, and I would just like to summarize a few points that have been discussed over here about the program, and for those students who are eligible for it, especially students coming from the A-levels background. It's a 3-year program for them. There are 3 different specializations in this program, and if someone wants to go for the general specialization, they can do that. Also, one of the benefits is that if you want to transfer the Royal Holloway campus, that's also an option with this program. And the extracurricular activities was just mentioned, and obviously Saad also mentioned on the employability of this program, which is very good in Pakistan, and obviously the University of London is continuously working over it. So if Saad and Dr. Paul, if you have any few closing words for our aspiring students.
Yeah, if I can just start off, and then I think Saad closes. Whatever decisions you make regarding your future studies, the key thing is to get the most out of whatever you do. You only get out what you put in, generally in life, not always, but generally. And so look around would be my suggestion. I'm not trying to put you off. What I'm doing by saying that is that I think you'll find that the University of London BBA with Royal Holloway is a really good program. So if you compare it to other programs that might be available, then I think you'll find that it's a very good program. So I always suggest, consider your options. The world is your oyster. I hope to welcome you onto the program when I next visit Pakistan, and I wish you all the well for the future. So that's it from me. Thank you for paying attention and being here today, and I'll hand over to Saad.
Yes.
Thank you, Paul. That's a very wise, I would say, advice. Again, I would also want to somehow say something similar. I think it's always good to do the research yourself. For those who don't know much about University of London or their programs, I would say probably do a bit of research on the credibility of the university, the programs that we've been offering for the last 160 years. I think this is definitely one of the best business administration programs in Pakistan. You are able to save time, money, and it's a very innovative program. You have the opportunity to go for hopefully a summer school in the future as well. There's lots of opportunities to engage with students studying this program outside Pakistan. So a lot of global engagement there as well, which is probably not the case for most of the programs locally. Other than that, employability is definitely an advantage because it's a foreign qualification. And I think the best part is if you aim to go for a master's abroad, I would definitely say that this program is probably the best because University of London is much more known in United Kingdom or the US or anywhere in the world compared to any local university. And if you aim to go abroad for a master's, this program will definitely do well for you if you've graduated with a 2-1 or even a first class honors. And even I think below that will also help you to get into a decent university anywhere in the world. So I would definitely recommend the program and do visit Denning. They're the first one to be offering this program in Karachi. I think there's another institution as well which is offering it as well. So the popularity of the program is definitely there in Karachi, and I think you will definitely enjoy the program. Paul definitely visits Pakistan several times, and it's his favorite destination. And he's yet to visit Karachi, I feel. So I think it would be a good visit for him to come to Karachi and interact with students. And once again, I wish Denning all the best with this program. And I also hope that those students that come on this program understand the value and credibility of University of London and enjoy the journey with University of London and Denning. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Saad. And Dr. Paul, we would look forward to you visiting at Denning and interacting with the students. We hope that things become in such a way that you can visit very early. So thank you again for your time. Thank you, Saad. Thank you, Dr. Paul. Thank you to all the participants. Thank you, Ms. Sarva, who's the student director at Denning, so for coming on to this session. And if there's any questions you guys have, you can always, our website is there, our email address, our contact number, everything is mentioned over there, and we'll be happy to assist you in any information that you would like to know. So thank you again, everyone.